everybody. This is my second to last speech. Here's my audience.
Hi, happy holidays!
Okay, so today I'll be sharing with you about what my friends and I jokingly call the Baptist mafia. I want to start by saying that I grew up in a garb church, which I'll explain later, and that whilst my experience has been the same in every church that I've been to, I have not been to every church in the country, and so I can't say that they're all the same, or that your experience will be the same as mine if you go to one. Anyway, the Baptist mafia. I grew up in a very conservative Baptist church, and a Baptist family, which is pretty much a culture all on its own. They have their own culture, norms, and rules, and regulations, and traditions, and even their own type of government type of thing. The church that we attended was a GARB church, which stands for General Association of Regular Baptist Churches. And that pretty much means that our church is a part of an association which tells our church how to run. So they send us our pastoral candidates. They have already, it's kind of a church covenant that is the same for every GARB church. Mission statement and rules and kind of unspoken laws that are traditionally the same in all GARB churches. The church I attended, First Baptist Church of Maine with my family. My dad was a worship leader there and the head deacon, which meant he pretty much mostly worked really close with the pastor. In Baptist churches, GARB churches especially, Baptist men, the pastor is pretty much right up there under God. So his word is pretty much biblical law. And then the Baptist husbands are right up there underneath the pastor. So their word is law to all all women and children. And then their word is biblical law to their own wife and their children. Besides the pastor and the men, there's also another type of government, I guess you could call it, and that is the certain groups of wives. They're like a special group of wives that includes usually the pastor's wife, whoever has been there the longest, married to an upstanding member, of course, and any other ones that they specially pick, and they get together and they pass judgment on anyone who isn't exactly doing what they're supposed to be doing. Their big concern is appearances and how you behave in the church. They want to make sure that their church is better than all their friends' churches, also GARB churches, because you can't be friends with anyone that isn't a GARB church. They're not as holy as we are. Anyway, so some of their things that they would pay attention to is whether the men are wearing suit coats and ties with their suits, and if the women's skirts are longer than their knee length, if the kids are wearing stockings or tights, and if the boys are wearing jackets or coats or whatever. There's also supposed to never, ever any running or loudness. Children should not be heard in church at all. And if you're too old for the nursery, that means you're old enough to sit in the sermon and be still and understand what's going on. The rules that are to be followed outside of the church, those are dealt with by the pastor and the deacon. And those rules include avoiding places where your spirituality might be in question, like movie theaters, restaurants that serve alcohol, certain stores and shops, and also being seen talking to a man or a woman you're not married to. Those are major big deals. And if you break like the first set of rules, the only repercussion you're going to get is an awkward confrontation between the wives. But if you break the second set of rules, then you are likely to be brought up in front of the church, have your sins laid out, need to have a public apology, and perhaps have your membership revoked so you can spend time repenting. As a child growing up in a Baptist home, I I had no friends or acquaintances outside the church. I spent my formative years under the constant watch of the wives, my dad, and the pastor. Corporal punishment was a requirement, as well as a demand for constant perfection. They love to quote the verse, "Be perfect as your Father is perfect," Matthew 5:48. And I lived in constant fear that I wasn't pleasing God. I learned to look the part and act the part, but like every other kid in that church, I left for college and never came back. That lifestyle does not prepare you for the real world. It doesn't tell you about alcohol or sex or even the internet. You come out of there a fully grown toddler in a toy store with so many new things to see, and do, and smell, and taste. There's pretty much very few options for you. 1, panic, run home and never leave again. 2, run into the madness and never look back. Or 3, go crazy, get locked up in a psych ward and have the church reject you. 3 guesses as to which one I chose. I may be seem a little cynical about churches, but I still believe in God. I still go to a church, not a Baptist church, and I definitely wouldn't want you to take my experience and not go to a church. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about my experience in the Baptist church. So I hope you enjoyed my speech. My audience, one of them ran away. Sorry.